Hey everybody, and welcome back to another XPlane 11 stream. Today's flight is going to see us taking the new Just Flight Duchess Model 76 from Waterford Airport down to Cork Airport for a VFR flight. Weather today, we have broken clouds at about 4,000 feet. Winds are calm, temperature about 15 degrees. We have World Traffic 3 running in the background. And we're just going to be checking out this wonderful plane. So with that said, we'll start looking around the model here. So the Model 76 from Beechcraft. First flight was in 1974, introduced in 1978. They stopped building them in 1983. And they made about 430 odd-ish, if I can remember right when I was reading. Primarily used in flight schools and a couple of GA owners as well. They were designed pretty much to be kind of a low-cost introduction to a twin-engined aircraft. So the rendition here by Just Flight. Fantastic attention to detail, as always, from Just Flight. Texture work, the modelling, the use of PBR, even the liveries they've selected. Really, really nice. It's a real aged looking aircraft, but you can even see here on the prop, wonderful reflections working. You know, some of the dirt and grime that these aircraft are going to pick up, it's all here. So with Just Flight, we have an option thingy gadget over here. I disappeared that earlier on. If you ever want to hide these, you can just use your roller ball. So we've got our doors here. So we can stop our nice music. So there's our music on. Hope you guys can hear me. Would you believe I've ran about 4 streams to try and sort my sound? I can't hear myself, as you kind of feel yourself as you talk rather than hear yourself. But anyway, there was an echo, so I thought, oh, this is great. Did a couple of flights, and there was 2 of me talking, and one of me is bad enough, so you don't want 2 of us. Anyway, I digress. So the aircraft we're looking at here from Just Flight, it's only been released in the last couple of days. Interesting enough, it's similar to that of the Coronado Baron that we flew yesterday. So there are a lot of differences between the two. We'll certainly have a look at them. So we have our door controls here. That's similar enough to what Coronado offer as well. You can remove the reflections from your glass and also the instruments. That helps if your machine suffers from low FPS. So that might give you a small little boost. Your aviation flashlight, your autopilot, you can change from inches to hectopascals, millibars, all that kind of good stuff. You can access your GPS. You have your imbalance in relation to your fuel. Weight and balance will go into it. We'll set 160 in each of the tanks. We'll leave everything else as is. Maybe add a bit of weight in the back here. That'll do. We can mess around with our sounds, which is always handy to have. This button here just kind of gets it into a state where you're pretty much ready to taxi. A full checklist. This is quite detailed. This goes all the way through your check sheets and checklists up to failures and emergency procedures. Pretty awesome. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not disciplined enough. Your flight computer, bit of information, the weather, your speed, the range based on how much fuel you got, fuel flow, all that kind of good stuff. You can shunt the aircraft or move it, and you have your static elements. So we'll go ahead and remove our static elements. Close the doors. Good. Hope everything's working here, guys. If it's not, just leave it in the comments. So inside the wonderful aircraft, and I have to say the reflections and the modeling and the textures, PBR, everything, it's really, really nice. I mean, this is fantastic. What do you think? In terms of, you know, from afar, it looks awesome. In some cases, I think Coronado have the edge only because some of their images are a little bit sharper, but you can't fault this at all. It's really, really nice. Performance-wise, it's quite good as well. You get a little bit heavier than the Baron I found yesterday. But again, I think it's more to do with the systems. But it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's really, really nice. So our plan, as I said, we're going to take off here from Waterford. We're using World Traffic 3. Hopefully we don't take off while someone's trying to land, and then when we get to Cork, hopefully we don't land when someone's trying to take off. There's no ATC as such. We have this plug-in, the World Traffic Radar, and if we select our current airport, which is Waterford, 20 nautical mile radius, we're looking at an Aer Lingus, 80 miles, there's a lot of traffic there, so we'll do our best not to bash into them. To start us off, we're going to make sure that our fuel tanks are selected. This little guy over here, this is the manual landing gear gadget. Now this part here, the handle that goes in to allow you to pump, it's there but it doesn't function. So you just click this guy and that'll pump your landing gear. But our switches should be absolutely fine. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our batteries on. I'm using the SciTech panels, so you'll hear clicking off here in the background, but you'll see the switches move as well. So get our nav lights on. We're going to set our mixture to rich, prop to full, open our throttles, fuel tanks are on, cowl flaps, we can open them. Carb heat is, turn them on because we'll probably get a warning as we turn on the aircraft. Fuel pumps can come on. So we're getting our fuel flow and pressure here. They're all working great. So with our magnetos, turn them onto both, keep our fuel pumps on. If you press the center, that primes the engine. We're going to start number 2 first. So we'll shout clear prop and go for start. Good start on the left. Good start on the right. Prime the left. Good start on the left. Turn our trim on. We have a button here for the autopilot. When I first had this aircraft, I was like, "Oh, it doesn't work. It's rubbish. It's really, really bad." It does work. You have a button down here as well for your headphones. It pretty much silences the engine, but we'll leave it on because the sounds are really good in this. So the avionics or radio switch that can go to on. Our GTN 750 will power up. We'll activate the autopilot just to give us power. It's set to off. There is a bit of reading up and learning how to do stuff with this aircraft. So you can read the manual. Get some lights on here for us. I've one bugbear with this, and it's to do with the flaps. So I use the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog. Okay, so there is a button on that for flaps, but it's pretty much a switch. So you flick it down, it'll send a signal for whatever, a second or two, and then it stops sending that signal. An axis is different, so if you had an axis assigned to it, it'll be fine. But just to put things into perspective, if I hit the flaps down button, that's it. So your poor old hand would be going 90 here in the corner to get a steady flow in your flaps. So what you got to do, you got to grab it. So if anyone has a workaround, I know the Marchetti has the same function, but with REP, I think they've figured out that. So yeah, if you guys have an answer for me for that one, I would be very happy. So a couple of things here are Q&H is set, they're all okay. Clear that message. We can put in a direct to mode just so we can follow our line. We're going to Cork. We leave that on. We'll go a VFR squawk because we're on this side of the sea, and everything kind of pretty much looks okay. Bring on our pitot heat. Taxi light can come on, strobes can come on. We'll jump outside just to make sure all our control surfaces are working. So we'll go ailerons left, ailerons right, pitch up and down, rudder left and right, and I have nose wheel steering as well. So we're good to go. So our plan: taxi straight out, turn to the right, back taxi, and then a straight out departure. And we'll fly over kind of Tramore and hug the coastline on the way down. So, brakes coming off. It takes little to no throttle to get this aircraft moving. We don't need to use our flaps here, we have a long enough runway. So we'll come up to the little run-up area here, just check our mags, make sure they're all working great, and we'll bomb it on out of here. So it's a very functional aircraft. If you were to compare it to the likes of, we say, the Coronado with the Baron is bigger, it has a better range, it's faster. And Coronado's version, when REP gets released, that's the reality expansion, when that gets released, it's going to be up there. Like the Just Flight stuff, the modelling is fantastic, the systems are great, but I just think with the reality expansion rather, it just brings a whole new level of immersion and realism, and it kind of personalizes the aircraft for you as well, because if you fly it hard and fly it tough, it will remember, it won't be too happy, things will break, and it's more liable to fail and fouling and all this kind of crack. So we'll stop ourselves here, brakes on, mixture is to rich, bring our RPM up to about 1700. And we're going to go for a mag test here, so we're going to select our left mags. We should see a drop here. Back to both. Then we go to our right mags. And back to both. They're nice and smooth. The needle isn't hopping around to show any fouling, so that's all good. So we want to check out left and right. We seem clear to the left and we seem clear to the right. Okay. So get our landing lights on. And we'll turn up here to the right. The Just Flight aircraft, I found like it's the first one that they released, I think it was the Arrow, and yeah, it was great when you got it, and it was a game changer in terms of the attention and detail that went into it, and the systems. Like, we're used to Coronado showing us all the eye candy, and you know, for the most part the systems aren't bad either, but Just Flight kind of raised the bar a bit, which is great to see. So with this plane, yes, it has one little kind of a niggly bit that's annoying, but I suspect I'm going to be flying this plane a lot because it is great fun. It flies superbly, and with the level of systems that you have, and with the check sheets, and you know, this aircraft from Just Flight, it encourages you to leave your comfort zone, as in you're going to want to try some of the failures to see how you're going to handle them. At least that's what I think. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do them today, mind. So as we're taxiing here, we have a little bit of stuttering, but that should correct itself shortly. We'll do a UE. Hopefully there's no planes at the end of the runway going to frighten us. We're looking alright. So before we blast off here, quick check. We're not going to go with any flaps. Our lights are on. I'll probably brighten these up there a little bit if we want. Autopilot, we'll worry about all this once we get airborne. Set that to runway heading. Okay, we're good to go. Advancing the throttle. Dancing on our pedals to keep the aircraft somewhat straight. We're looking for 90 knots. We're getting lighter. And we're up. Positive rate of climb. Bring the gear up. It's happy to climb out at 1,000 feet per minute. So far so good. Start a turn here to our right. We'll come up over Tramore. Our scenery is brought to us by Ortho 4XP. There's an aircraft off in the distance. So we're climbing, we're going to look for about 6,000 feet. We're going to go nav mode. We're going to get our pitch up. Not too much. Takes a little bit getting used to. That's our speed. So we're looking for about 1,000, which is there. Our passengers at this stage have thrown up. I'm used to setting, you know, vertical speed and whatever rate you want it to be at. I'm just used to doing that, so this is a little challenge in itself. This little radar thingy over here, I've yet to see it working, but I am aware of what it does. It's just a weather radar, and I think it has a storm scope on it as well, so it'll indicate lightning strikes and stuff. Pretty cool looking. So we're over 1,000 feet. Fuel pumps can come off. Get our landing lights off here for a while as well. We don't need them. We have our strobes on. Plenty of lights going on. Autopilot is set, following our line. Once our speed gets up, this countdown clock is going to move fairly rapidly. It's about a 15 to 20 minute flight, which will see us come back over then Dungarvan, Youghal, and then back into Cork. Now it's going straight into altitude mode. We don't want that. We still want to climb. So I think it wants to level off first. About 3,000 feet. We'll look for 1,000 feet per minute climb. Not too high though. That'll just about do. So we can bring our prop speed back a small bit. Ideally looking for around 2,700. Bring our manifold pressure up. Let our speed climb. Mixture's doing okay. You just get it on the needle of our EGT line here. Should be increasing our speed ever so slightly. RPM is good. Pressures are okay. Cylinder head starting to come up. We still have our carb heat on, but it should be okay. So we can hop outside and have a look. Really nice looking. Cool. So we're looking for about 6,000 feet. Another 500 or so to go. Climb is okay-ish. 85 is kind of ideal climbing power, so everything's fine for the moment. Another 500 feet get us to where we want to be. And that should do us. Airspeed coming up. We're kind of borderline VFR here, but we'll stay going. We can probably come down a small bit, but I planned for 6,000. We'll be okay. So speed looking good. About 150 knots over the ground. So as we're looking onto Cork, because we're not using ATC, I'm going to bring up the World Traffic Radar. We're going to have a look at Cork, so we'll type in Cork. So they have an arrival coming in here. That's runway 07. And they've 35. And then you have 25. So we're probably going to go for 35. That's the plan. There should be us. So we have Aer Lingus in the area. Echo India. F4 is Ryanair. So a few bits and pieces. We might even go to 7,000. Just to get above this line, because our visibility is starting to drop a bit. If we just go that little bit higher, we should be able to see through it a lot better. That's the theory of it anyway. $500 to go. No changeover tanks here to worry about either. We'll stay going up to 8,000. Speed's okay, passing 7,000 here at the moment. So if you were to ask me, should you get the Baron from Coronado or should you get the Duchess from Just Flight? If money isn't an issue, you wouldn't be flight simming. You'd be flying real planes. If money is an issue and you only want to pick one, it depends pretty much on your own personal preference. So the Coronado Baron, as I said, it's bigger, you have a longer range, a little bit easier to fly in my opinion, and with the expansion pack from REP due to come out, it's going to be something special. I know the old version of the Baron is still in use today and it's still flown. People are using it in XPlane 11. So it is very good. With Just Flight and their aircraft to line up, it has enough in terms of the, you know, it's your plane. It has your own personal touch, your own feel to it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of bits and bobs you'd like to add into it. But overall, it's a solid plane. They don't really give problems in terms of, you know, it's never crashed. I do remember there were a number of activation issues with these aircraft when they came out, at least on my system, but that was more a SASL problem. So don't really know. If money isn't an issue, pick up both. They're fantastic, you know. Your hangar can't be too full. XPlane, and there's really no such thing as a bad release. You know, unless of course the plane is you know, it could be horrendously crap. But in general, we're quite lucky. Most of the aircraft that come out for us here in XPlane, for the most part, are really good. They're fantastic. And yeah, we'll argue to say, oh, they're expensive and whatever else, but like, a lot of the planes now, like, they take teams of people to work on them, to update them, to model them and texture them. And I know Just Flight released this aircraft back on P3D a long time ago, and Franda have brought it into the world of XPlane. But it's fantastic. It's really, really good. And it's fun to fly, which is the main thing. You don't want something that's just the same, feels the same, flies the same. So it's pretty much on your own personal needs. If you want to be doing longer flights, if you're using FS Economy, and the Baron is a little bit bigger and it can go for longer. And they're primarily used for, it's the bridge, like it's the gap between your 152, your 172 and your commercial rating. Like most of them train on this. I know in Cork they have a lot of twins down there. They've Pipers and Beechcraft and a bit of everything. So, want to watch our speed? 160 over the ground, just about nice. Temperatures and pressures seem okay. Fuel is fine for what we're doing. So, while we're here, we'll look at the time, 10:15. I'll show you off some of the night lighting. So, if you're in XPlane and you said, how did he do this magic or sorcery? If you press Shift and K, that'll bring the time back, or Shift and L, that'll put the time forward very fastly. If you want to do it more gradually, don't press Shift, just press either K or L. That's how I do it. And that's how we all do it. Or you can bind a different key, or you can put it on your joystick, or whatever like. That's probably way too bright. That's about nice. That's about nice. So if we kind of start here and we can look at it, very pretty. The night lighting is superb on this aircraft, and our reflections here on the windscreen or the windshield, even the compass here in front of us, real tasty. Outside, not a lot to see. We have our strobe lights, our nav lights. Still looks decent enough. We can put on our landing lights just to see. One thing I did cop though, I haven't realised or figured out the interior lights. So if we click on this guy here, turn on our little flashlight. Which doesn't seem to be working. Murphy's Law. We have one over here. Aviation flashlight. So there's no... there doesn't seem to be any switch modelled. Which is odd. Bit of a bummer, really. But, yeah. What can you do? Like, there is something here, but it doesn't work. It has no function. These move alright. Air vents over your head. That does make for a compelling scene. I think we'll leave the lighting at this level. I use Ultraweather for XP. I think it's on version 2.4. I'm looking forward to the new release. 2.5 should be with us in the coming weeks. Beautiful reflections there on the side of the plane. There is one thing I noticed. The LibRain plugin, the gadget that basically makes water look real when it's raining, okay? As I waffle on, we better not miss the airport. But what I have noticed, if you have the LibRain installed, both this and the Coronado plane have the files, so it'll appear if you drop it into the plugins folder. But with Just Flight, there's a small anomaly. So I imagine they kind of have to wrap the plugin around the windshield. And on the Coronado aircraft, it works flawlessly. On this, there seems to be some clipping whereby it could be a bug. And if it is, I'll report it to Just Flight and Tranda. You don't need to worry about that. I'll do that for you. I'm sound like that. But seriously, you'll get raindrops appearing actually on your thermostat and on your compass. It's as if the wrap kind of stops. We say the wrap goes to about here. This line. Whereby on the Coronado one, it kind of follows the screen, like they've morphed it or they've bended it or whatever they've done with it. So you'll see what I mean when you do it and you put it into rain. It's a very small kind of a strange issue, but whatever way they've done it out here, that's angled, but they've pretty much ran it straight, so it clips some of your thermostat or thermometer down here. It's not that big to do, like it doesn't break it as I said, but Coronado they've done a better job putting LibRain onto their aircraft. But again, it could, this is version 1 of this aircraft. It's just released. The Baron is the same from Coronado. It's just released. They always patch them, which is great to see. Just Flight, they've only just patched all their existing aircraft for XPlane to bring them up to XPlane 1130. And that's great to see because Coronado haven't. They're in the process of. But there's a lot of planes, like you go back to the Caravan or the B1900. I know the B200 got an update. I know the C90 got an update. But there's a lot of Coronado aircraft that they just need to be updated slightly for XPlane 1130. Now we understand where they're at. XPlane updates itself quite regularly. Coronado have a lot of stuff going on with their own projects. It takes time. It's cool. It'll just be nice to see them when they do come true. So all is looking kind of half rosy. We're coming over Cork. We're going to go into manual-ish kind of mode, as in we want to be turning to the left here. There looks about good. We're going to go to heading mode. And we're going to want to start bringing our altitude down. Let's see how this goes. That's about right. So bring our throttles back. Bleed off some of that speed. As a Ryanair goes above our head. So that's Cork City under the fuselage. Over this direction then we have Cove. This island down here used to be a prison. I think Spike Island. You could correct me now if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Spike Island. And then you've Hull Bowlen, which is the Irish naval base. Buddy of mine works down there. Lovely part of the country. Cove in itself, steeped in history. People boarded Titanic from there. I think it was its last stop before it actually stopped. So that's where we're flying. And again, this all these ground textures is Ortho 4XP. Zoom level I think is 16. It's using the Bing imagery. But from this altitude, it looks stunning. This time of day, the lighting, to me, it looks stunning. Yes. It looks nice, doesn't it? Is there smoke effects? Yes, there is. We'll turn them off. If we do something like this, I'll just take a screenshot of that. We'll probably use that for the thumbnail for the video. So we can start swinging back here to the right. So our visual is going to be 435. We can say activate. We're going to fly to this line here and then make our way in towards the airport. Altitude 6,000. We're a little bit high, but we're okay. Speed is okay. We'll have a quick look at our radar here. This is me. An A320. Even Aer Lingus coming. Two of them. There's an ATR 72. Speaking of ATR, I want to see an ATR. It's rumoured, I think, that the Air Corps are looking at ATRs to replace the CASs, which the Maritime Patrol, or they're looking at more CASs. I don't know. But I'm unsure. Are ATR part of that group? Do they make the same aircraft? I'm unsure. Okay, we're looking good. Our plan is, as soon as we hit the runway, we're going to probably have to back taxi and we'll go into our parking, which is just located here. That is the plan. Pitch down a little bit more here, not too much. Bring our RPM up a bit, that should help bleed off the speed. So the passengers were getting sick, now I've just popped all their ears. I can fly, me. Okay, so far so good. Landing lights back on. Very nice. The sounds are great as well, like it's your F-mod sounds, it's just Really cool. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. Back into nav mode. That's quite abrupt. We won't worry too much though. Speed is bleeding off nicely. Just coming in under 3,000 feet. Runway will be in sight very shortly. In actual fact, I'd say we're too high. So we can create a bit of drag here. Flaps to 10. Close our cowl flaps. Carpet is okay on for the minute that I can see. Watch our speed. There's our runway. .85 knots is going to be just fine. Probably deploy another 5 degrees of flaps. Nerdbark, how are you, pal? Thanks for joining me here on the stream. We're just about to do a landing here into Cork with the Just Flight Duchess, and there's a plane on the runway. There's a plane on the runway. Okay, so there shouldn't be anything else though. I hope. I don't see anyone else lining up here, do you? It is the new plane from Just Flight. Picked it up the other day. I did a stream yesterday with the Coronado Baron, so I thought it'd be a good way to kind of see the difference between the two of them. Drop our landing gear here. We can probably go into manual mode. Autopilot coming off. Start our turn here to the right. Increase our rate of descent just to get us lined up. So far, so good-ish. Speed is good. Down you go. Okay, so we want to be hovering kind of at around 80 knots for our approach. At this stage during the flight, on takeoff, they got violently sick because I activated the autopilot and it went fighter pilot mode on me. Then trying to figure out the pitch on the autopilot, and then on descent, the eardrums had burst purely because I put it into a dive. But apart from that, that's been, this has been a smooth flight. So get ourselves lined up here with the runway in the distance. Pappy lights are coming on. We're a little bit high, but that'll be fixed. Indicated here from our Pappy lights. So we're looking for 2 white and 2 red. Still don't see any planes, so that's a good sign. So we're on the glide slope. There's 2 white, 2 red. Speed looking good. Rate of descent looking good. Famous last words. Quick check before we go. Landing gear is down. Lights illuminated and confirmed. Cowl flaps are closed. Flaps are set. Lights are on. We are go for our landing. And a plane magically appeared on the runway. Yeah, I gotta figure out how world traffic works. Seems like a Cessna 310, but made by Beechcraft. It's very similar. There's a bit of wind out of nowhere. It's very similar to the 310. Obviously, okay, you don't have the tip tanks, but these kind of small twin prop aircraft, even the Beech C90. So you have the 310 from Cessna, the 340 from Cessna. You have the Pipers, you have the Twin Comanche. So there's a lot of saturation in this. Approach not too bad. Yeah, this is a lot smaller than the Baron, so, and it has a shorter range too. Speed is good. Hopefully nothing else decides to like spawn on the runway. just coming in over the piano keys. We'll be parking just up here on the right hand side. That's what the flight school is in Cork Airport. Okay, looking good. Go for flare. Throttle back. A little bit of a float. We'll live with it. Contact on the right and left, and we're down. So a small bit of braking. Get ourselves turned around here. Yeah, there's a plane coming straight at us. You couldn't time that any better. Will it go around? Doesn't look like it. And he's a lot bigger than me. Oh look, parked planes. There's nothing going on in front of us, so we're just going to look at. Oh yeah, there. Look at that, Beechcraft and some Cessnas parked up, and that sound isn't really there. Do I dare look forward? Oh look, and we can just kind of go this way. Ah, look, the runway's clear again. That's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to spin in here to the right, and as we do so, we can bring our landing lights off. Bring our flaps all the way in. And that's them. Yeah, it's like the Cessna's, just that T-tail looks fantastic, doesn't it? And it sounds fantastic. Cruise speed of this thing, I think it's kind of happy at around 140 to 150. You know, its climbing speed is around 85. The Baron, I think it's up around 180. I could be wrong now, but like, it's not bad. And again, like anything from Just Flight, you know, it's quality. So we'll get ourselves parked up in here. Don't hit the hangar. Looking good. Almost looking good. Bit of power there. Okay, parking brakes and come on. Bring our pitot heat off. Taxi lights off. We can bring our avionics offline now. Bring our props down. Manifold pressure coming up. And bring our fuel down to cutoff. Nicely done. So, mags coming off. Bring our lights off. As an Aer Lingus comes in. And battery off. Well guys, there we have it. Just Flight's Duchess Model 76 from Beechcraft. Really fun to fly. Want to thank everybody for stopping by during the stream. Nice having you here. I will be streaming again at some stage during the week. I really need to update a schedule and put this video onto YouTube then for our friends and followers. So if you have any comments, suggestions or opinions, do please leave them in the section below. I do read them. I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll speak to you really soon. Look after yourself, guys. Take care.